introduce Richard Riemann. Yeah. Richard, please come. Richard is the president of ARH Associates and president of Mainstream Hamilton.
Yes.
Richard, welcome, and thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm the president of Main Street Hamilton. Cassie's our executive director. You'll hear from her soon. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's made this possible. This is a very fantastic thing for our community, especially in Main Street. Main Street, we take a great pride in our diversity, in our service to our community, and providing a lot of resources for people to live, work, and play in Hamilton. I also wanted to recognize, and there was probably a lot said, I was here for the earlier part, there's a lot said about the building and about the vision. I wanted to just focus 1 minute on the word passion, and that's Yvette's passion for this visual and for this entity. And I've had experienced that passion in a number of meetings with the Hamilton Health Coalition, and that compassion as well. And she has attracted a great group of people around her. She is the nucleus of a very strong organization. I think you mentioned you have 30 or so people working, but it's really a family of people who are all attracted from the same level of passion for the community. I think that's such a special thing, especially in these days where we may not have as much passion or compassion as we should. So I wanted to congratulate everyone for that. Thank everyone for coming and for celebrating this, because I do think it's a very special, special thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, and thank you for coming. And next I'd like to ask to come up Cassie Lacavelli, I believe. And Cassie is the executive director of Main Street Hamilton. I hope I didn't.
You did that great.
Oh, thank you. Whew.
No,
Man.
I thank you.
Cassie?
Well, it's never very good to have to follow Rich in speaking, especially since we're kind of commenting on the same things. But as the executive director of Main Street, in case you don't know, primary focus of our organization, which has been here in Hamilton since 1993, is to restore and celebrate the vibrance of your downtown here in Hamilton. And so whenever there's an empty building, it's not a good thing for the community. And so to have this building kind of just be sitting here, and the fate of, Yvette and myself bumping into each other that day, this was just meant to be. I will also say, if you weren't here this morning, this building was empty. There was a landlord that she mentioned by name, Ray Vega, who had made the decision to buy this building. So, I want to kind of comment a little quicker, a little deeper in the fact that Ray is kind of somebody we should celebrate today, because aside from me calling him and then to have Yvette call him, we are two people with a force to say, you really don't want to buy that building, do you? Like, he had told me the price of the building, he had told me what he was going to do, and after bumping into Yvette and her commenting that she was actually looking for a building, it was just, having just talked to Ray the day before, I pretty much just called him up and said, I don't know, I think you have enough. I think you should be passing this on. And not only that, and Yvette can attest to this, I even asked him, could he help in maintaining the price. He had, been doing this a long time and knew how to work a deal. And I said, and while you're at it, not only would you give the building to us, to somebody else, but could you do us a favor and try to keep the building at that price, because you're better at this than we are. And he did. So, it was meant to be, and good for Ray, because I think his willingness, he really didn't need another building. But aside from that, look at the joy that is going to be a result of just that opportunity to take over this building. And like Rich, I too serve on committees with Yvette. She has served on the Main Street Board with us, and Rich and I both serve on the Hamilton Health Coalition. We are really appreciative of our ability to work with the connectors, and feel like, in some regards, I feel like I'm kind of the godmother with this group, of trying to make, to work with such talented people. But to know that the vision from the time that I met Yvette that she shared as to what she thought her program, what this building could be, watching the difficult elements of putting this together. It's not easy. It's, you know, as I've described her in many settings, she is an agent of change. And when you're an agent of change, there's times when people want to be with you, and there's times when they want you to go away. And she's persistent, and it's hard to not love her because, as I've said to her before, with that smile, who can say no to you? But the truth of the matter is she's brilliant. She is passionate. She is dedicated, and she will never go away until she sees the work that she's always dreamed of come to fruition. And this is just the beginning. And I'm proud to be a part of this journey. I'm grateful to have this building and the folks that are in this building and the people that have done so many good things for this community, to be able to reach some of our marginalized audiences and give them the same opportunity, allow them to share their talents and make this a more interesting and more vibrant downtown. There's nothing but good things ahead for this building and for the work that Yvette and her team does. So we're grateful that she's here and her program's here, and we wish you all the very, very best. Thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
I think Cassie actually captured Yvette quite well. I'm not sure how I can add much to that. She sometimes comes across more as a hurricane than but she is a force to be reckoned with, and for me personally, sort of got me out of retirement. I've had a career in mental health, and got me to be involved with Allies in Caring and the work that she is building here, which I think is just a wonderful testament to someone who cares, who's passionate, and who wants to reach people. Oh, thank you. Who wants to reach people who often don't have access to traditional mental health services. And as a lifelong believer in the value of mental health services, I think what Yvette has built here, along with her team and with the board, is really admirable and adds something dramatic to the community here and makes it a better place for everyone. So I am really pleased to be associated with Allies in Caring, with Yvette, and certainly with the accomplishment of building Con-Vivir as an edifice to services that people in the community will benefit from for years to come. So it's with a great deal of pleasure and my honor to introduce to you someone who I think most everyone knows and fears, is Yvette Guillermo McGee. Yvette.
Hi. So first, I know I really appreciate that you're here and you're paying attention to this and with us. And this is a great small crowd, but the people that need to be here. So thank you for being here. And I want to say a little bit about what we are celebrating here today. I'm going to. Okay, I think this is better. Okay. So today we are celebrating the vision of Con-Vivir. Con-Vivir is Spanish for living well together. And this vision is about really appreciating the importance of relationships. We know more now about how relationships matter for health and well-being. And I want to tell you a little bit of story of my personal life. My parents and my siblings who are deaf, when I was growing up, they pointed out that the real handicap was not their hearing loss, but it was the lack of connections with other community, with friends. And my mother became depressed, but not because she was deaf, but because she was not she wanted to have friends. She wanted to participate in the school meetings and be like the other parents who could participate and support her children. And she wanted to find a job and do something with her skills. And when I was in middle school, we were fortunate as a family that she found someone who took interest in helping her discover what her interests were and what her talents were, and she developed confidence, and then she was able to find a job as a teacher for deaf kids. And because of that, we got her back, and she became much more alive and more present for us and for herself. And she still had to deal with difficult relationships at work and stressful, but the agency that she developed stayed with her for the rest of our lives and is now steering her. And this is the idea of Con-Vivir. We believe that anybody, like the people that we call poor, or the people that we call illegals, or disabled, are not people that are deprived of resources. They are actually full of resources. They have a wealth of resources. They are people that are very resilient, that have great creativity, that they have great capacity to work and to contribute. And our vision is that if we support them, when maybe you can all relate to having someone in your life that listens to you, that can see you for who you are, regardless of the bad habits that you have and that might obscure your strengths. But if you have someone in your life that can see you, that brings out the best of you. So some of us can find that in our family or our community. But for many of us who come to this country and are separated from our families and from our friends, we then lose that connection. And we hope that this center will be a place for immigrants where they can find new relationships. For people with disabilities or people who are different in any way, that they will find someone that can relate to their difference and that they will feel welcome. So this is the space that we are offering is a space for the community to feel welcome so that they can flourish. And this is also a place to support our staff. So for the past 9 years that we have been providing mental health services home-based mostly, we have been nomads. We have been traveling in libraries, and Stockton University who helped us, allows us to use their place or the Family Success Center, that we are very grateful. But now we will have our own space for our staff. And we will also, through this center, we will be able to provide other programs. The idea of Con-Vivir was also that we wanted to do more for mental health prevention and mental health promotion. A lot of the focus on the mental health field has been on addressing only the symptoms and not the real root causes or the social and environmental factors that really support the recovery of people, or that help people promote their health and not get and also recover from mental illness. So this is the idea of this center is that we will provide the supports that the families need. And the other part of that is very important about relationships is that I can tell you with a story that I also have, like when I told my husband that I wanted to have to create this organization and I wanted us to have our own space. He asked with what money we were going to, I could create this, and for me, like this, what I learned from my family is that money is not the most important resource. That the actual currency that matters is relationships, and that with relationships you can create prosperity. And this building is really a testament to that, because this building just happened through the many connections that we made. Like I met Earl Jackson, who is the architect responsible for this building. I met him through Creative New Jersey when I went to do a presentation. So I met Casey, who introduced me to Earl. Then Earl, when we started talking to Earl, he planted the seed that we could buy a building, and that's when then that day, after talking to him, I walked and I bumped into Cassie, and Cassie introduced me to Ray Vega, And then when we were thinking about having the money, well, before, like, Earl also introduced me to Laura Wallach from Community Capital. So it's all these different connections, people that were willing to help to teach me how to fundraise. And I was at the beginning, it was very intimidating to go and knock doors and ask just companies to give us money or to design a brochure. So I had many, many people who could help in many ways, just teaching me how to fundraise, going with me so that I have the courage to ask for money. And people who also, like right now, like this event is possible because of our wonderful staff, wonderful volunteers that we have here. Sarah Thompson, who's here, who's responsible for donors relationships. Copelia, who's responsible for the community engagement and did a wonderful work, and all the many, many people that have been contributing. So I want us to really treasure the importance of relationships, and I thank you, all of you, for being here, and my family, who has been a wonderful support. So thank you for listening and being some minutes with us. And I also want to introduce, before our board member, Claudia Oseguera. She will say some words and I will translate in Spanish and English.
Como quieras.
Oh, en inglés.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I apologize. I'm not dressing properly. I just started a new job yesterday. And when Yvette asked me if I could say a few words, I say, of course, I'll be there. But I've been super busy, as you can imagine. But I didn't want to miss the opportunity to tell you a little bit of the story of why I'm here helping this wonderful cause. So I moved to the US 11 years ago, and the company that I work for asked me to move to the headquarters. And I moved with my two children. They were 4 and 8. And as you can imagine, that was very hard. They didn't speak English. They had to go to school, new friends. Their father stayed in Mexico because we were divorced. So my children were struggling, and I was trying to find somebody that could help them and could speak Spanish. And that's how I met Yvette. I don't even remember how I got to her, but thanks to the fact that I met her and she helped me with my children, everything was easier for them. So I've been very thankful, and I learned how important it is to have the resources when you are struggling for whatever reason. And also, I have always thought that when children are small, when they are just developing, it's extremely important that they have all the resources that they need. So we need to make sure that they have food, they have education, and many times we forget that also mental health is very, very critical. They need to find ways to express themselves when they don't know how to say what they are feeling. And sometimes we as parents cannot help because we don't know how we can get the words out of them. And I think many times we are very afraid of asking for help. And I really believe it's very, very important that we don't feel we are very bad parents because we cannot understand our children. If we don't know how to manage something, we have people that can help, and we need to learn to raise our hand and say, I cannot deal with this, I need help. And because of that experience that I had and seeing everything that Yvette had done with the organization, I was very honored when she asked me if I wanted to be part of the board in the finance area because they need a lot of help there. And I've been learning a lot about what she's doing, and I am more and more impressed because this is a really nice organization in a community where I hope everybody takes advantage of all the different services. One of the things that I've seen now that I work closer with Yvette is that we have all these resources that people should be using, and sometimes they don't. And I always wonder why. And sometimes when I think about anything that was offered to me for free, maybe I think, oh, maybe that's not a very good service because I won't pay for that, or I'll pay very little. But sometimes, like in this case, the professionalism that people have in this building, or everybody that work here, is like super high level. And you should be very happy that you can have these resources that many people would want. And I really hope that you can help us speak with other people, talk about what is done here, invite them to visit, and as I said before, maybe convince a friend. If you know that somebody is struggling for whatever reason, convince your friend to reach out for help. It's very important. And as I said before, these years that are critical for children, we want to provide all the support that we can, because they are the future of this nation and the world. So we want to make sure that we are raising children that will become adults, that have emotional intelligence, that are strong mentally speaking. And I'm sure that if we have more and more people paying attention to these things, the world will become a better place to live in. Thank you.
I think that's it. Thank you so much for being here with us. Woo!